The evening sun cast golden light through the windows of the Westwood mansion. Amber Hayes stood in the nursery folding tiny clothes, while 3-year-old Daisy napped peacefully in her crib. Amber was 26 with honey blonde hair. She usually wore in a simple bun tonight. It was loose around her shoulders because Daisy had pulled it free during their game of pretend princess. Amber smiled at the memory. She had been Daisy's nanny for 8 months now. It was the best job she had ever had. Not because of the generous salary or the beautiful home, but because of the little girl sleeping soundly with her thumb in her mouth. Daisy had stolen Amber's heart from day one. A soft knock made Amber turn. Nicholas Westwood stood in the doorway. 34. Years old, with dark hair and striking features that belonged in business magazines, which they often did, he wore a gray suit with the tie loosened. His expression was troubled. "May I speak with you?" he asked quietly. "Downstairs in my office." Amber felt a flutter of nervousness. Had she done something wrong? "Of course, Mr. Westwood." "Nicholas, please," he said. "We have been over this." They went downstairs to his office, a room filled with leather furniture and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Nicholas gestured to a chair. Amber sat. He paced for a moment, then stopped. "I need to ask you something," he said. "Something unusual." Amber waited. "My company is in the middle of a major acquisition." Nicholas began. "We are trying to merge with Harrison Technologies. The deal is worth $500 million. He ran a hand through his hair. "Robert Harrison is old-fashioned," Nicholas continued. "He believes strongly in family values. He has made it clear he only does business with men he considers stable, men with families." Amber was starting to understand where this was going. 3 years ago, my wife left, Nicholas said. His voice was carefully neutral. She decided motherhood was not for her. She signed over custody of Daisy and disappeared. I have not heard from her since. Amber knew some of this. The other staff had told her. But hearing it from Nicholas was different. "Harrison found out I am a single father," Nicholas said. "He has concerns about my ability to manage both the company and Daisy. He has made comments about traditional family structures, about children needing mothers." Nicholas looked directly at Amber. "He wants to have dinner with me and my family next week," he said, "to see that Daisy is being raised properly. If he does not approve, the deal falls through. 500 jobs are at stake." Amber's heart was pounding. "What are you asking me?" Nicholas took a breath. "I am asking you to pretend to be my wife," he said, "for 1 month, just long enough to secure the deal. We will attend a few social functions together, have Harrison and his wife to dinner. Act like a happy family." He held up his hand. "I know how this sounds," he said. "I know it is dishonest, but I am out of options, and you are the only person Daisy is truly comfortable with." Amber sat back. This was not what she expected when she took this job. "What would I have to do exactly?" "Wear a ring," Nicholas said. "Attend events as my wife. Live here as you already do. Be affectionate in public." He paused. "Nothing inappropriate," he added quickly. "Just enough to be convincing." "And the compensation?" Amber asked. "I will triple your salary for the month," Nicholas said, "and give you a $50,000 bonus when the deal closes." Amber's mind raced. $50,000. That would pay off her student loans, help her sister with medical bills, give her a real safety net. But it felt wrong, dishonest. "I understand if you say no," Nicholas said, "and it will not affect your position here. I would never fire you for refusing." Amber looked at him. Really looked at him. She saw the exhaustion in his eyes. Weight he carried. "Why me?" she asked. "You could hire an actress because Daisy loves you," Nicholas said simply, "and that cannot be faked. Harrison will see right through a performance. But with you it would be real. At least the part about you, caring for my daughter." Amber thought about Daisy, about how the little girl called her Amby, about how she ran to Amber every morning with a smile, about bedtime stories and scraped knees and tea parties. "Can I think about it?" Amber asked. Of course, Nicholas said. Take the weekend. I need an answer by Monday. That weekend, Amber barely slept. She made lists of pros and cons, called her sister, who told her to follow her heart, prayed for guidance. On Monday morning, she found Nicholas in the kitchen. Making coffee before work, Daisy was still asleep. I will do it, Amber said. Nicholas turned. You are sure? Yes, Amber said. For Daisy and for those jobs you mentioned. But we need rules. They spent the next hour establishing boundaries. No one could know it was fake, except them. They would sleep in separate rooms. No real romance. Just acting. When the month ended, they would quietly divorce, claim incompatibility. Nicholas had already worked out the legal details with his lawyer, who was sworn to secrecy. That afternoon, Nicholas came home early with a ring, a simple gold band with a modest diamond. It was my grandmother's, he said as he slipped it on Amber's finger. The fit was perfect. That night at dinner, they told Daisy, sweetheart. Nicholas said, Amber, and I have something to tell you. Daisy looked up from her pasta. We are getting married, Nicholas said. Amber is going to be your mommy now. Daisy's face lit up like Christmas morning. Really? She squealed. Really? Amber said, smiling. The little girl jumped from her chair and threw herself at Amber. I have a mommy, she said. I have a real mommy? Amber held her close. She met Nicholas's eyes over Daisy's head. His expression was complicated. The first event was a charity gala 2 days later. Amber wore a simple white dress Nicholas had bought for her. He looked devastating in a tuxedo. They arrived with Daisy, who wore pink and carried a stuffed bunny. Remember to hold my hand, Nicholas murmured as they entered. Look at me like you love me. Amber took his hand, their fingers intertwined. It felt strange and natural at the same time. The evening was a blur of introductions. Robert Harrison was a silver-haired man in his 60s with sharp eyes. His wife, Eleanor, was warm and friendly. What a beautiful family, Eleanor said, and your daughter is precious. Thank you, Amber said. We are very blessed. Nicholas put his arm around Amber's waist. She leaned into him. It was just acting, she told herself. Just a performance. But when Nicholas looked down at her, his eyes held something that seemed real. The month progressed. They attended dinners and fundraisers, had the Harrisons over for a meal that Amber cooked, went to church together on Sundays. Slowly, the lines between pretend and real began to blur. Amber found herself laughing at Nicholas's dry humor. He started asking her opinion on business decisions. They stayed up late talking after Daisy went to bed about their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. One evening, 2 weeks into their arrangement, Nicholas came home to find Amber and Daisy dancing in the living room. Music played from the speaker. Daisy stood on Amber's feet as they twirled. Nicholas leaned in the doorway, watching. When the song ended, Amber looked up and saw him. How long have you been standing there? Long enough, Nicholas said. His voice was soft. He crossed the room. May I cut in? Daisy giggled and ran to her toys. Nicholas took Amber's hand. They swayed to the music. This is nice, Nicholas murmured. Yes, Amber whispered. He looked down. At her, Amber, I need to tell you something. What? This is not pretend anymore, Nicholas said. Not for me. I am falling in love with you. Amber's breath caught Nicholas. I know we said no real feelings, he continued. I know this was supposed to be business. But somewhere between the galas and the bedtime stories I fell, he touched her cheek. I love the way you care for Daisy. I love your kindness and your strength. I love who I am when I am with you. Tears filled Amber's eyes. I fell too, she admitted. I tried not to, but I could not help it. Nicholas smiled. Really smiled. Then, can we make this real? He asked. The marriage. I mean, stay with me. Not because of a contract, but because we want this. Yes, Amber said. I want this, he kissed. her then soft and sweet. Behind them, Daisy clapped. "Daddy is kissing Mommy," she announced to her stuffed animals. They laughed. The Harrison deal closed 3 weeks later. At the celebration dinner, Robert Harrison pulled Nicholas aside. "I knew from the start," he said. Nicholas felt panic. "Knew what?" "That your marriage was new." Harrison said, "I could tell by the way you looked at each other, like you were still discovering each other." He smiled. "That is the best kind of love, the kind that is just beginning." Nicholas relaxed. "Yes, sir, it is." 6 months later, on their real wedding day, Nicholas and Amber renewed their vows. This time with family and friends, this time with truth. Daisy was the flower girl again. She took her job very seriously. At the reception, Nicholas gave a toast. "I hired Amber to be my daughter's nanny," he said. "Then I asked her to pretend to be my wife. What I did not expect was that the pretending would become the most real thing in my life." He looked at Amber. "You taught me that love is not about appearances. It is about showing up every day, choosing each other, being present." He raised his glass. "To my wife, who agreed to fake a marriage and gave me a real one instead." Amber stood and kissed him. "Best job I ever took," she whispered. Daisy tugged on Amber's dress. "You are my real mommy now, right?" she asked. "Not pretend." Amber knelt down. "I am your real mommy," she promised, "forever and always. No more pretending." Sometimes the best love stories start with a business arrangement. Sometimes what begins as acting becomes authentic, and sometimes the person you hire to play a role ends up being exactly who you needed all along, not because they were pretending to be perfect, but because they were perfectly themselves. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who believes in second chances and unexpected love. Subscribe for more stories about finding family in unexpected places. Comment below and tell us about a time when something that started one way became something better. Your story might encourage someone to take a chance on love.